All right, welcome in. Just Talk Sports UFC Fight Night. It's Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. So it's going to be very exciting. So tonight's Thursday. We got 2 more days until the fight. We're going to be making our picks here in a second. But some top headlines. I know we talk about UFC 6 a lot. But it's like my favorite game. I still play UFC 4 like almost every day, by the way. Always playing career. I don't know. How many careers have I made? I've probably made about 500 career fighters, by the way. It's crazy. From jiu-jitsu guys to strikers to boxers to kickboxers, everything else, wrestlers, all that stuff. Even clinch guys. Clinch grappling, which they need to improve on. But anyways, we'll get to that here in a second. UFC 6. I'm hearing could possibly be dropping before GTA 6 or after GTA 6. Who knows? Or around Christmas time and or the beginning of 2026. And if it's the beginning of 2026, I'm going to be pissed. I want it dropped now. But anyway, it was a 4-year gap on the one from UFC 3 to UFC 4, or UFC 4 to UFC 5 because of the COVID and everything like that. But hopefully UFC 6 will be dropping here soon this year. Preferably before GTA 6. And then get prepped into GTA 6 would be pretty sick. But having both games at the same time is going to suck because you're going to be wanting to play both of them at the same time. Anyways. So really what I want to see them do, which they probably won't because EA Sports sucks. So I was hoping to be like a 2K version for the UFC fights, UFC 6. But unfortunately it's EA and they probably own the rights to all that crap. But anyways, thanks Dana. But anyway, so what's going to happen, what I want to happen is for them to do like an Ultimate Fighter team, like an Ultimate Fighter show, and or Dana White Contender Series like they've already had done, which is just one fight and end. Or you can choose to be in the Ultimate Fighter season, 33, 34, or whatever they choose, what number it is. And then they have like a nice little play, what do you call that? Like a little video type stuff, and you get interaction, and you get to pick which fighter you want, and according to what fighter you want, and according to what kind of types of character and all that stuff, like angry or mad, sad, really crazy or whatever. That would be freaking sweet. But UFC 6 dropping hopefully sometimes this year. And then, I want to see some clinch grappling transitions. Where's that been? UFC 4 doesn't have that. I don't have UFC 5. I don't know what they're doing. I'd like to see some clinch grappling. Because remember like UFC 3, you can transition into your clinches. The Muay Thai into the plum, going into it. You can go to your like little grip thing. I don't know all the words for it, but a little clinch grip. You can do some drops and flips and trips and throws and all that stuff. Ground and pound into it after you throw them down and then go into the clinch and then all that. Anyway, that's what I want to see happen on UFC 6. Just a little bit more detail. A little bit more detail on every aspect of the fighting from wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and striking and all that stuff. But I've heard bad reviews of UFC 5, so hopefully they transition out of that. What was really cool back in the day, I think it was UFC 1, is when Dana allowed you have the sponsorships on the shorts and on the shirt and all that stuff. And then on the game, you can actually just get sponsors, put them all over your shorts, put them all over your shirt, and get extra money for it, which would be pretty sick. And I loved it. But Dana doesn't like it. They sold the Reebok. Now Reebok owns all the rights of it with their clothing brand and all that crap. So you can't do anything with sponsorships on your apparel. So that sucks for the fighters. So, and it's always the same look of fights. Now they're changing over into different shorts and stuff like that for different types of fighters. It's pretty cool. It was just like the little black and gold for a champion, and then black and red or black and blue with a little stripe, and that was it. But anyway. So, UFC 6. Drop now. All right, so the next topic of conversation I'd like to talk about is the next fight coming up next week. Muhammad versus Della Madalena. Madalena. Muhammad is talking about taking his Palestine flag, and he said nothing's going to stop him. He's going to take it out. He's going to run with it, jog with it, walk with it, whatever the hell he wants to do, and he's just going to carry it on his back. And that's what he's going to do with the Palestine flag. He said nobody's going to stop him. So we'll see what happens for next week. But we're not going to get into those fights because we have a fight on Saturday night. Sandhagen we already talked about. And then we're talking about Figueiredo. But I'm doing something differently, but we're going to get to that. I keep teasing it like crazy. But Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. It's a big topic. It's the most views I've gotten on my shorts when on the UFC shorts so far in the past couple weeks. Everybody's talking about it. Now, I listen to Good Guy, Bad Guy. Chael Sonnen has been talking about the date is already finalized, stamped, approved by Dana White, and ready to go. What is really interesting is that Jon Jones is supposed to be fighting, Ciryl Gane here soon. I don't know. He's only had like one fight in a year and a half. It's going to be almost 2 years before he even gets a second fight by Jon Jones. Anyway, they should already had this Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall already done, but it looks like Jon Jones has been the one dragging his feet on it. Becomes the champion for so many days and all that crap now. So I don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, if Chael knows his stuff, it's going to be a date that's already determined, predetermined, and ready to go. So the fight's actually going to happen. But if Jon Jones loses to Ciryl Gane, what is that going to happen? What is that going to do with the championship and the heavyweight and all that? Ciryl Gane gets it, and then they got to fight Tom Aspinall, and then you have to go fight Jon Jones after you fight Ciryl Gane, or vice versa, or whatever happens. I don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. So, let's get into some Fight Night picks. Enjoyed that intro. We're going to be doing something differently, and hope you guys enjoy this. I might have to try to edit all this down or whatever, but I'm doing my picks Saturday night completely differently of how I usually do it. So I usually just do a little 5-leg parlay for you guys and drop it in the show. But for Saturday night, for tonight's show, I'm going to be doing 3-leg parlays across the board from start to finish. From Juliana Miller in the women's flyweight division, she's at a plus 190. We're going to switch back and forth to BetMGM and back to the UFC. And I don't really know, if you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I want to know what that is. I think it's the ESPN betting site that when you flip it over to that. So Miller is a plus 185. We go back to this. She looked like she just moved. She just move already at a plus 190? That's crazy. Like literally while we were on the show, within a minute in, Juliana Miller just went up to a plus 190 on the UFC site here. So Croatia versus United States, and you know me, I always pick the American. And we're just going to go down the list until we get into the main card, and then I'll show you what I do when I do my picks, and then I determine which one. But I always do America first. Juliana Miller, coming out of the Ultimate Fighter, what is that, Team Pena, was that UFC 330 or 30, UFC 330, UFC Ultimate Tough 31, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that. So Juliana Miller, I like her. I wonder if she's single. She's like a boxer, striker, all that stuff. On like a 2-loss. I think she's only 1-3 so far in the UFC. She's trying to get her contract, so hopefully she gets this dub. Same thing with the Croatia girl. So she has like a loss or 2 in the UFC as well. But anyways, Juliana Miller gets the win. I don't know if she finishes or not. Heavyweight fight. Minus 265, plus 215. Thomas Peterson versus Dontel Mays. And I'm going to go with Thomas Peterson. That was quick. Oh, wait. We got to look and see what the BetMGM is on. Peterson is a minus 250. Minus 250. And it's minus 265 here. But I do BetMGM. All right, going to the bantamweight. Gaston Bolanos versus, what is that, King Le from Vietnam. Peru versus Vietnam. So this is going to be a tough one. I'm just going to go favorites. Gaston gets the win. Minus 142. And Bolanos is at a minus 140. So, pretty close. Minus 142. Now, that was our first 3-legger. Boom. 1, 2, 3. And we're done. Moving on. Women's strawweight bout. Marina Rodriguez, Gillian Robertson. Minus 325. Canada versus plus 260. Brazil. Give it to Robertson. Boom. Middleweight. Ryan Loder versus Azamat Bekoyev. United States versus Russia. And Ryan Loder, he was on The Ultimate Fighter, I think 1 or 2 seasons ago. He's at a plus 310. Let's take a look at BetMGM. Oh boy, I just what are you doing? I don't want the PFL. I want this one. All right, so what the heck? I did not pick that. Or maybe I did pick that. I don't know what's going on. Loaders plus 310. Plus 310. Same as that one, so that's good. And Miesha Tate's back. Looking pretty good. I like the picture there. Russia versus America. She has at a minus 142. And the women's bantamweight division, number 10 versus number 12. And let's go ahead and see what Miesha Tate is at minus 145. Minus 142. Pretty close on that one. That was in the prelims. And then here we go. Miesha Tate, by the way. And there is your 1, 2, 3. That's 3 right there. 3. Robertson, Loader, Tate. All right. Now we're going into the main card. Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. And you know what I do. But plus 425 is not very good against Wales at a minus 575. Let's take a look at BetMGM and see where Jeremy Stephens is on that. I don't know why it keeps kicking me back over. But Stephens at a plus 425. I think it's the same thing. Yes, at plus 425. America versus Wales. I'm going to go for Jeremy Stephens. This is trying to get your money back on your 3-legger. So hopefully get some monies on that one. But that's what my heart says, but my mind says no. But Jeremy Stephens, American, let's get her done. And they're fighting in Iowa. We need to get the wins in Iowa, dude. I'm just saying. Like, this is America. Like, we got to win. The Americans need to win. So Cameron Smotherman versus Sari Sadi. I think that's how you say it. Now, this is a close bantamweight pick'ems. Pick them if you want them, whoever you want. United States versus Ukraine. We're going to go to the United States. Cameron, get the job done. Now, we're going to finish off here. Well, we're almost done here. So, bantamweight, number 15, Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Now, Montel Jackson is favored by 198. And United States versus Peru. Last week, I believe that was a Peruvian, or what did you say, with the women's fight. And I picked, it was Chandler versus that one chick. And Chandler gets TKO'd, knocked out in the first. So Peru is bringing the heat. And I'm pretty sure she was from Peru as well. Or Panama. My bad. She was from Panama. Whoopsie. Montel Jackson gets the win on this one. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Danielle Rodriguez. This is pretty close to a pick'ems as well in their welterweight fight. Argentina versus United States. Give me Rodriguez at plus 102. Let's take a look at him, shall we? Because this is we're supposed to usually do this. D-Rod 18-5. Let's take a look at his fight history. And he won last time against Morono back in October, but that was split decision, so really close. He lost to Gastelum in a decision. Lost to Machado Gary by knockout in the first round. Lost to Magny. He hasn't really won since Jing Ling back in 2022. Jeez. And that last one was a really close one with split decision. So that's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one to pick. Coming out of L.A. Gangster. 8 wins by KO, 4 by submission. Pro got 2015. He's won 14 of his last 18. 5 first-round finishes. And that's how we usually do it on there. So give me Rodriguez. And this one's going to be a tough one for me. Because Rainier de Ridder versus Bo Nickel. Now, Bo Nickel is just a wrestler. This Netherlands dude, I saw highlights of him. He can go to the ground. He can do top. He can do bottom positions. And he's a jiu-jitsu dude. He's got 13 submissions so far in his arsenal. Now, Bo Nickel is at a minus 325. He is favored, and he is undefeated in the UFC. And he has beaten all these dudes that you're looking at right now since he's come in and fought in the octagon going all the way back to March 4th of 2023. So let's take a look at some fighter facts. He just turned pro like 3 years ago, or turned pro. Went to UFC 3 years ago. 2 wins. So he does the submissions too, but more of the wrestling trends submissions. 5 first-round finishes. Look at all those seconds. 33 seconds in, 38 seconds, 62 seconds, 52 seconds, and then a 255er. So this might actually go all 3 rounds to a decision. He was undefeated as an amateur with a sub and a knockout, as you see there. So kind of anxious to see. It's going to be a grappling match, and if it is a grappling match, it might go all the way to decision. It depends on how Bo Nickel's submission defense is in this one. Now we're at the main one. The main event of the evening, Corey Sandhagen versus Figueiredo Davison. Figueiredo.
I wonder if he still has like remember he had like this hair like white with the like red streak down the side of it. He's at a plus 380. I keep forgetting to switch over to BetMGM, but Sandhagen's actually at a minus 500. And if you look at the previous fight, Corey Sandhagen with the knee to the noggin knockout, clean as a whistle, probably one of the best knockouts by knee I've ever seen in my life, other than Jorge Masvidal against Ben Askren. Does anybody know where Ben Askren is nowadays? Working at Dairy Queen or something, cooking some fries up for you. I mean, he's all potted out like his head. He's got knocked out so much, and that knee to the noggin that Jorge Masvidal did to him years back just made him into a Fruit Loop. Anyways, Corey Sandhagen, minus 500, gets the win.
All right, before I go, we could possibly have a special guest. We've been kind of talking back and forth on Reddit. He has a UFC show as well, and he does some music and everything too also. So hobby and all that stuff. So hopefully we can get... I haven't had a special guest on. When's the last time I had a special guest on? I used to have him almost like a couple times a week or a couple times a month. And then I just kind of dipped off a little bit. I've been up and down and up and down. It's been a roller coaster ride. So just wanted to give a little teaser on that. And I forgot to do the main thing. Love you guys. God bless. Tip the waitress.